Bath School Disaster, 1927. Andrew Kehoe was 55 years old. He was the elected treasurer of the Bath Township School Board in Michigan, a position that gave him unsupervised access to Bath Consolidated School for over a year. He blamed the school for everything. The property tax levied to build it had pushed his farm into foreclosure. He lost an election for township clerk in 1926. He stopped farming. He stopped paying his mortgage. He spent the following year packing dynamite and surplus World War I pyritol beneath the school's floors in soldered wiring connections, working alone at night. On the morning of May 18, 1927, he murdered his wife, wired his farmstead with explosives, and set it on fire. At 9:45 a.m., the north wing of Bath Consolidated School detonated. The collapse killed 36 children and 2 teachers. Parents dug through rubble with bare hands. As they worked, Kehoe drove his truck into the schoolyard. The bed was loaded with dynamite and metal shrapnel. He fired a rifle into it. The explosion killed him, the school superintendent, and 3 others, including a child who had survived the first blast. Investigators found 500 additional pounds of unexploded dynamite in the south wing, still connected to a failed clock-triggered detonator. He had intended to destroy the entire building. On his farm fence, he had wired a sign, "Criminals are made, not born." 45 people died. Bath Consolidated School remains the deadliest act of mass murder at a school in United States history. Edmond Post Office shooting, 1986. Patrick Sherrill was 44 years old. He was a part-time letter carrier at the Edmond, Oklahoma post office and a former Marine sharpshooter. The afternoon before the shooting, 2 supervisors reprimanded him for poor performance and misdirected mail. That evening, he called his union representative to ask about a transfer. Nothing came of it. His neighbors knew him as the man who mowed his lawn at midnight and peered through their windows in combat fatigues. His co-workers called him Crazy Pat. On August 20th, 1986, he arrived at work at 7 a.m., carrying a mailbag containing 3 semi-automatic pistols. He locked the doors behind him. His first shot killed Supervisor Richard Esser, one of the men who had reprimanded him. He then searched for the second supervisor, Bill Bland, who had overslept that morning and arrived an hour late after it was over. Sherrill moved through the building, shooting everyone he found, chasing some under desks, firing at others already on the floor. He killed 14 people and wounded 6 in less than 15 minutes. When police entered the building, he shot himself in the forehead. A 7,000-page postal inspector's report followed. A congressional hearing concluded Sherrill should never have been hired. Between 1986 and 1999, 14 more postal employees committed workplace killings. The phrase "going postal" entered the American vocabulary. Virginia Tech shooting, 2007, Seung Hui Cho was 23 years old. He was a senior English major at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, Virginia. He had been flagged by professors, reported to campus police, and evaluated by a psychiatrist who declared him mentally ill. A Virginia court ordered him into outpatient treatment in 2005. The order was never enforced. His name was never entered into the federal background check database. He purchased 2 handguns legally in February and March 2007. At 7:15 a.m. on April 16th, he shot 2 students in a dormitory. Virginia Tech administrators decided it looked like a domestic dispute and did not alert the campus. For 2 hours, the university stayed open. During that window, Cho mailed a package to NBC News containing an 1,800-word manifesto, photos of himself holding weapons, and 27 video recordings. Then he walked to Norris Hall, chained the entrance doors shut from the inside, and moved from classroom to classroom. He fired 174 rounds. 28 of his 32 victims were shot in the head. Police breached the chained doors 9 minutes after arriving. They heard the final shot as they reached the second floor. Cho had killed himself. 32 people were dead. It is the deadliest school shooting in United States history. Virginia's governor closed the background check loophole by executive order within weeks. Congress passed the NICS Improvement Amendments Act in 2008, requiring states to report mental health adjudications to the Federal Firearms Database. Virginia Tech paid an $11 million settlement to victims' families. Navy Yard shooting, 2013. Aaron Alexis was 34 years old. He was a former Navy reservist and AT contractor with an active security clearance employed to maintain computer networks at the Washington Navy Yard. His record included a 2004 arrest for shooting out a car's tires, a 2008 disorderly conduct charge, and a 2010 incident where he fired through his apartment ceiling. He was discharged from the Navy Reserve in 2011 after 8 documented infractions. He kept his clearance. 6 weeks before the shooting, police at Naval Station Newport were called to his hotel. He had taken his bed apart, searching for people hiding underneath it. He had taped a microphone to the ceiling to record government agents sending electromagnetic waves into his body. His employer suspended him briefly and sent him back to work. On September 16, 2013, at 8:08 a.m., Alexis entered Building 197 using his valid pass. Inside his backpack was a sawed-off Remington 870 shotgun purchased 2 days earlier. Into the stock, he had carved "Better Off This Way" and "My Elf Weapon." At 8:16 a.m., he opened fire. He killed 10 people in the first 6 minutes and 12 in total over 69 minutes, moving through the building and exchanging fire with officers multiple times. At 9:25 a.m., a police officer shot him in the head. A congressional investigation found the Navy had failed at multiple documented points to revoke his clearance. No legislation passed. Las Vegas strip shooting, 2017. Stephen Paddock was 64 years old. He was a retired accountant and high-stakes video poker gambler living in Mesquite, Nevada. No criminal record, no prior incidents. Nobody who knew him saw anything coming. Over 11 months before the shooting, he legally purchased 33 firearms. The Mandalay Bay Hotel comped his 32nd floor corner suite because he gambled tens of thousands of dollars per night. Over 6 days, he brought more than 10 suitcases up to the room. Housekeeping came and went and noticed nothing. On October 1st, 2017, at 10:05 p.m., during the final night of the Route 91 Harvest Country Music Festival, Paddock smashed 2 windows with a hammer and opened fire on the 22,000 people below. He had assembled 23 firearms and fitted 12 of them with bump stocks, devices that allow semi-automatic rifles to fire at near-automatic rates. He fired more than 1,000 rounds in 10 minutes. 60 people were killed. At least 413 were struck by gunfire. The total injured, including those trampled in the panic, reached 867. Police reached his floor at 10:17 p.m. When SWAT breached his suite at 11:20 p.m., Paddock was already dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. His motive was never determined. The FBI closed the investigation without a conclusion. The Justice Department banned bump stocks in December 2018. The Supreme Court overturned the ban in June 2024. Monterey Park shooting, 2023. Hu Can Tran was 72 years old. He had been a regular at the Star Ballroom Dance Studio in Monterey Park, California, for years, teaching informal dance lessons and spending time with the community there. He met his wife at the studio in the late 1990s. They divorced in 2006. In the years that followed, he became convinced the people at the dance halls were poisoning him and stealing from him. He visited the Hemet police station on January 7th and again on January 9th, 2023 to report it. Officers asked him to return with evidence. He never did. On January 21st, 2023, the night of Lunar New Year, hours after more than 100,000 people had attended a street festival in Monterey Park, Tran entered the Star Ballroom at 10:22 p.m. and opened fire. He fired 42 rounds with an illegally modified semi-automatic pistol fitted with a high-capacity magazine. Both the weapon configuration and the magazine were prohibited under California law. The gun had been purchased in 1999 and never registered. 10 people were killed at the scene, 5 men and 5 women, ages 57 to 76. An 11th died at hospital the next day. 20 minutes later, Tran entered a second dance studio in nearby Alhambra. 2 people wrestled the gun from his hands. He fled in a white van. The next morning, police in Torrance surrounded the van. They heard a single shot from inside. When they forced entry, Tran was dead. It was the deadliest mass shooting in the history of Los Angeles County.